Hi, my name is Jordana Trausch, and I will be presenting my Educated Citizen portfolio. The public issue I chose to talk about is eating disorders in Omaha, Nebraska. Eating disorders is a public health issue that many do not wish to discuss due to the lack of education, social media, and lack of support. They have serious conditions that affect physical, psychosocial, and social functions. Eating disorders affect about 9% of the population worldwide. I chose this topic because I currently work at Children's Eating Disorder Day program. This topic has been very prevalent to me throughout the years. Before I started my ed- education to be a nurse, I wanted to be a dietitian. I have always wanted to help others, and I wanted to help those with eating disorders. This is very passionate in my life, and I feel like not a lot of people are educated about it, and it plays a major role in our daily lives. So throughout nursing school, we have learned to be an effective communicator. We learned that an effective communicator is that you use your critical thinking to generate, connect, and organize ideas in a written, oral, and nonverbal manner. An effective communicator, an experience that I had witnessed and learned was in Nursing 101. This experience was that a patient opened up to me after a while and told me that they were in pain. I chose to write and use this example for communication skills being both verbal and nonverbal, active listening, and to go with your gut instinct. The lesson learned was what makes nursing so special is that you have your ability to go with your own gut instinct. Something that another nurse may think is what's up with the patient really isn't. Like everyone has their own feeling, and if you feel like something is wrong and you need to act on it 100%, well, then you go with your gut feeling. This applies to eating disorders because you have to watch for verbal and nonverbal cues with communication. When a patient is eating their dinner, we need to watch for if are they shoving it in their sleeves, are they hiding it like under a napkin and we just not watch it. Like you need to have eyes on them 100% of the time, but also have that communication with them like a normal family dinner so they get the adjustment and it's just like, oh, we're gonna eat as a big happy family tonight. And then also when patients use the restroom, we need to make sure that we're using our active listening skills because the patient could be exercising in the bathroom, they could be vomiting up the food they just ate. So we need to use our active listening and nonverbal skills with patients with eating disorders. Another example of an effective communicator was in Humanities 150. This experience was by practicing my public speaking skills, and it will help me be a better nurse and through this presentation. So the lesson that I learned was that you can have a great argument, but you need to be able to present that as a person. So if I think that someone is having an eating disorder, they need to be educated on everything. So I'm going to use my public speaking skills, and what I have learned to be an effective communicator was talk about it and be 100% honest with your patients. And how this applies to my public issue of eating disorders is being an effective communicator plays a major role. So when I am talking with my patients, I am there to build confidence so when they talk to their peers and professionals, workers, they can be confident and express how they are feeling. And we need to know how they're feeling so we can help them be better and so they can heal and be healthy again and get back to their normal lives. So another example that we experienced to be an educated citizen was a reflective individual. A reflective individual is someone who is routinely engages in habits of inquiry that influences ways of thinking and actions. An example that I experienced of a reflective individual was in 240. So what happened was that a patient was in to give birth for their third child. They thought everything was going to go smoothly as the other two first, but unfortunately, the baby was, was not able to come out, but the baby did come out at the end, just had some complications before, and the baby was breached. So what I learned was that nothing can go as planned, that one birth may go good, but does not mean the other birth is going to go the same. And how this ties in with eating disorders is that when you are taking care of patients, not every patient is going to be the same. Some treatment may take 8 weeks, but some other treatments may take 12 weeks, but then you hit a bump in the road and they have to go inpatient. But then they may hit a bump in the road again and they have to go to inpatient again. So when you're taking care of patients, every experience is different. And how this ties in is that we need to make sure that we educate mothers that they need to take in extra 500 calories a day when they are breastfeeding their kiddos. We want those kiddos to get the adequate nutrition and so they can grow and become healthy individuals. And we want to make sure mom's getting adequate nutrition as well. So education is very key, and we need to reflect on how we can help these individuals be better so they can go home. Another example that I experienced as a reflective individual was in 340. So this experience was that I communicated with the patient's mother. The patient's mother asked why their kiddo kept getting sick after the NG feedings. So the lesson that I learned was that you always need to listen to your patients and your patient's family and listen to their concerns and how they can help them get better, or their patients, the family members, how they can help their loved ones feel better. So how this applies to eating disorders is that being a reflective individual plays a key role in eating disorders, and it is important that we do not judge our patients for having an eating disorder. We need to build that connection with them so they can trust us that we are doing what is best for them. They need to have that trust in us by making a food plan, being in therapeutic relations, like we sit on family meetings, we do the one-on-one active listening that they can talk through. And when they're struggling one day, that is just not a good day for them, they can come to us and talk with us and be like, okay, I'm just not having a good day. What is up? How can I become better? So another experience that we learned to be an educated citizen was a change agent. A change agent uses the disciplines of the liberal arts and sciences to analyze historical and contemporary situations and systems to develop cultural competence and to take appropriate initiative to effect change. A change agent that I experienced was in Nursing 210. This experience demonstrated empathy, compassion, and desire to help someone who had a different racial, cultural background than in 210. I was taking care of a patient who was African American and who was in the hospital for neuro problems. The lesson that I learned was that you always take care of your patients like they are your own loved ones. That's just how I go about it, because if my grandparents or my family members were in the hospital, I want that nurse to take care of my loved one 100%. I don't judge them. I treat them like they're my own, and I want the best for them so they can go home and live their daily lives and they can feel better. So this applies to patients with eating disorders, because when you are taking care of them, you want to make sure that you don't judge them for being anorexic, bulimia, or binge eating. You treat them like a normal human being, and you don't know their background history. They could be going through a divorce. They could be getting bullied. We don't know their background, so we cannot judge them as individuals. And some religions may affect what people eat. Some religions can't have meat. And some people can't have eggs or dairy or gluten due to dietary intake. So we never should judge someone. We need to treat them like they're individual and take the best care for them. So another example I experienced of being a change agent was in 350. This was at Lasting Hope Recovery Center, and a nurse and I were taking care of a patient, and they were depressed because they couldn't see their loved ones. In like 30 minutes, I walked by them and they were just sad. They were depressed. They were crying. So I sat down and I just talked with them. I was like, hey, what's up? Are you feeling okay? And they just started crying. So I sat there and I listened to them. And the lesson that I learned was that everyone needs someone to talk to no matter what. And it's even if you're sitting there for 5-10 minutes and say nothing, and they can just get whatever they need off their chest. So how this applies to eating disorders is that patients will come up to you and they just are having a rough day, or they may be going through a divorce, or they may be experiencing bullying, and you just sit there and you just let them express how they are feeling. And some patients suffer from anorexia because of anxiety and depression. So we just need to sit there and reflect on how to be a better individual so we can take care of them and how they can feel better. So becoming an educated citizen, I have learned to be a better effective communicator, reflective individual, and a change agent. This will help me to be a great nurse in the future. I have learned about public issues that help me use my knowledge of the educated citizen to address eating disorders and other public issues that we may face. This experience has shaped me to the person that I am today and will help me become a great nurse in a couple months. I hope to work with patients with eating disorders, so I will take what I have learned researching this public issue and what I have learned in nursing school to apply it to be a great nurse in the eating disorder program at Children's. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and have a good day.